Thank you, Keith, and thanks, Denise, and to all members of the board of the MEAO. It's been a pleasure to work with you over the last several years on these issues. In the few minutes I have to speak, I'd like to address a few different areas. The first being access to justice for people with ME and FM, and improvements in accessing justice. Secondly, access to medicine and healthcare, and what that means for people with ME and FM. And lastly, access to financial security, and what that means for people with ME and FM, and how that can be enhanced and addressed in the sense of improving the situation for many people, both in this room and across this province and country. Let me, if I may, then begin with the first one, that being access to justice. We know, as we've heard, that there's a great number of people that experience these conditions of ME and FM and multiple chemical sensitivity disorders, 500,000. Of that group, approximately 20% is unable, as Alison said, to get access to food, but also is often unable to work and therefore in need of income security. And so of that group, accessing justice in terms of accessing appropriate legal services is fundamental in terms of addressing that concern. What have we done in that regard? Well, I've been involved with the Law Society of Upper Canada now for a number of years, chairing on several occasions every 2 years a conference dealing with litigating and addressing fibromyalgia and chronic pain-related claims. I've worked with the Law Society and the Bar Association to promote awareness as well as to promote knowledge and expertise within the legal profession. That said, there is still a great lacking in legal knowledge and legal expertise when it comes to these particular areas of medicine. The second thing is that patients and members of society must be very careful in terms of both finding their lawyers, accessing their lawyers, and ensuring that the arrangements they have with their lawyers are meeting their needs. Because that can be a fundamental challenge in both accessing justice but also securing your financial well-being into the future. So I've written articles about this which are available on the National MEFM Action Network website. That's the National Association of People with ME and FM in Ottawa, and they have those kinds of resources available. They have a roster of lawyers available. They have a roster of doctors available from across the country, and they are a valuable tool and resource like MEAO to assist patients. Our office obviously also does that, representing dozens and dozens of people with these conditions in CPP disputes, long-term disability insurance claims and disputes, and in terms of employment terminations and accommodation in employment. Knowledge is key. Clear understanding and clear communication is fundamental. And with that, accessing justice becomes much more easy. That said, finding those things are by no means easy. Let me turn, though, to the issue of accessing medicine, because that is a fundamental challenge, and a challenge that our politicians need to turn their minds to. Alison's addressed it to some extent, but the reality is that there is very little available by way of concrete and clear programs and or medical facilities available in terms of both diagnostic and treatment protocols, and in terms of rehabilitation for people with FM and ME. And those are policy objectives that are not only of paramount importance to this community, but should be of paramount concern to our legislators because of the financial impact of not having those things available. The inability of people to get diagnoses early, the inability of people to access and to get treatments that will be of assistance to them in improving function and getting themselves back to work and or improving their level of ability to access society are fundamental political concerns. And I urge all members who are in this room to communicate with your MPs, and I urge all the MPPs to take seriously both these issues and to respond to them in a way that has concrete and practical results for this community. Without it, the costs are going to increase, and the continued denial of access is going to increase to the point where people are going to be further worse off, and society is going to be further worse off, because we're going to have increasing numbers of people unable to work, unable to access basic needs, and society shouldering the further responsibility to meet those requirements for those people. Let me then turn to my last issue in my last minute, and that is being the one of financial security. Financial security is a tremendous, tremendous concern for most people in this room and for everybody that has and experiences a chronic health condition, particularly one such as ME or FM, because it can devastate your life. It can tremendously impact your style of life and your standard of living, both in terms of your family, in terms of your ability to access work, and in terms of your ability to access the basic requirements of daily living, including the ability to buy groceries, the ability to access treatments and purchase medications, and the ability to manage on a day-to-day basis. What we try to do in our practice is to help people to navigate that maze of benefit coordination, whether it's applications for disability insurance benefits through insurance companies, and that's something the province has jurisdiction over. There's nothing to stop this province from establishing clear and concrete criteria and requirements of assessment relative to ME and FM that are linked to the medical literature. And yet, insurance companies continue to engage in their own forms of assessment, often without regard to the medical literature, without regard to the medical established requirements and criteria, and that serves a negative impact for people with these particular conditions. So I urge politicians to consider that and to look at that, which is well within their jurisdiction to address. In terms of accessing financial resources, again, the primary ones available include, for those who are working or have worked, access to long-term disability and short-term disability insurance benefits. For those who have worked, access to Canada Pension Plan disability pension benefits. And for those who haven't had the occasion to work or are left with a situation that they don't have any means of income, the next realm of income security relates to the ODSP in Ontario. The ODSP is basically disability-related welfare, and it is a tremendously difficult both process to navigate, but also a very difficult one to survive on. And I urge parliamentarians here to look at the levels that are being established with regard to those benefits, because they impact fundamentally on the ability of people in this community to access basic needs such as food, medicine, and access to daily life. It's a heavy road and a heavy burden we all bear in trying to move these issues forward, but it's been my pleasure for the last 18 years to work cooperatively with MEAO, its various local and regional organizational groups, the National ME/FM Action Network, and dozens of people both in this room and across the province and the country on these issues. And again, we look forward as we pay tribute to the issues around ME/FM Awareness Day to moving forward with concrete and tangible steps to improve the situation of people with ME and FM, and to improve both the image and the respect accorded to these members of our society. And I thank you for your time and assistance in allowing me.